Welcome back to Math Maintenance. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of word problems that would require us to multiply or divide by fractions, and then you'll do some additional work multiplying and dividing by fractions. So 2 word problems for you today, not too long of a video, and then some time to work on your own. The first word problem says this. Mrs. Iwanski had $5. She spent half of her money on ice cream and then spent half of the remaining amount on a brownie. How much money does she have left? When I attack word problems, what I first like to do is look for the numbers. So the numbers that are in there are $5, half, and half. So now I know kind of the numbers that I'm going to be working with. One thing that you want to watch out for is them including extra numbers that you maybe don't need. So if the problem said this is Iwanski had $5, she spent half her money on ice cream, then she spent half the remaining amount on a brownie. How much money did Mrs. Iwanski spend on ice cream? This half doesn't matter because we don't care about what she did after she bought the ice cream. We would just need to be working with the first part of the problem. So really making sure that you also understand the actual question that you're being asked in the problem is really important as well. So I'm trying to find out how much money she has left after she makes all these purchases, or after I make all these purchases. So I start off with $5. And I spend half of my money on ice cream. If I want to know half of, remember of is a sign that we're going to multiply. So $5 times 1/2. Now, I know in multiplying fractions I can do multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. Since this is 5 whole, it would be 5/1. I can multiply the tops. 5 times 1 is 5. And then I multiply the bottoms. 1 times 2 would be 2. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Now, I might like to just be done with my math problems and say, okay, I don't want to work on this anymore. However, I have to check if I've answered the question. How much money does she have left? Well, all I've really done so far is found out that the ice cream would have been the $2.50. But then I also go and spend half of that on a brownie. So I need to go half of 2.5. Of means multiply. 2.5 over 1, I would get 2.5 divided by 2. 2.5 divided by 2 is the same as 5/4. I multiply top by 2 and bottom by 2, which means I have 1 and 1/4 left over. Normally in money, we don't say that I have 1 and 1/4 dollar. I would say $1.25 is how much she has left. And my dollar sign on there is my units for that problem. Now, if the problem was just a little bit different and instead of saying how much money does she have left, it said how much money did she spend, you would have to either go back and find where the money was spent, so the 2.5 and the 1 1/4, and add those together, or take how much she started with and subtract off how much she spent to get how much was left. But since it's how much is left, we can just go and say this is our answer. Let's try one more. Mr. Iwanski planted the vegetable garden. 1/3 of the garden had pepper plants. 1/4 of the pepper plant area had jalapenos. How much of the total garden was taken up by jalapenos? So if you're thinking about drawing a picture of this, here's the garden. And it's divided in thirds. And this is the pepper plant part. And then within the pepper plant part, we plant 4 different kinds of peppers. So one of these sections. Now, just with the picture here, I might be able to figure out how much of the total garden that section is. I could also figure it out by doing the math. So 1/3 of the garden was planted with pepper plants, and I want to know what 1/4 of that 1/3 is. Remember, so I found my numbers: 1/3 of the garden, 1/4 of the garden. I check my question. how much of the total garden was taken up by jalapenos. So I need to know what 1/4 of 1/3 is. I multiply the tops. I multiply the bottoms. 1/12 of the garden. So key steps to thinking about multiplying and dividing fractions during word problems. Find the numbers in your problem. Determine which numbers are actually going to be useful to solving your problem. Figure out whether you're multiplying or dividing. Complete the problem. Make sure that you've actually answered the question that it's asking. And make sure you have units on your numbers. For practice today, you have 2 additional fraction squares, so doing your multiplying going horizontally and your dividing going vertically. You have some fraction word problems to practice in your digital Google Classroom, and then your game activity is some multiplying and dividing of fractions games on a website. Good luck with your fraction, multiplication, and division.